of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone.
First thing on the agenda, approval of the minutes for September the 9th. Do I have a motion?
I think I make a motion.
Do I have a second? Yes, you make the motion. Just a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, is this yours, Mr. Trustee?
Yes.
Resolution of implementation budget line items for the unemployment for in the small school.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Board. Proposal 2025-13 is a resolution eliminating budget line for unemployment in the small claims court budget 2026. The proposed budget includes $40,000 in new dollars for the small claims court to use Township General Fund for paying unemployment benefits, fund staff to provide services outside of Lawrence Township. Indiana law prohibits Township from spending its tax revenue for services rendered to residents outside of their township. Therefore, paying for unemployment benefits for grant staff to provide services outside of Lawrence Township would be in violation of law. Removing this appropriation would ensure compliance with the law and leave the township in a better financial condition to meet its financial obligations in the future. Also, Mr. President, I want to remind you that this, even if some court or somebody would want to continue to hold on to this $40,000, then it would not be spent until 2026, at the end of the grant program in 2026, which I believe is around about March. So we could go ahead and eliminate that now. And if somebody who, if a board or something who says you must pay that $40,000 from township funds, then we reappropriate it, put it back into the budget. And also, I want to remind the board that at the time the court came before you asking for this appropriation of the grant funds, she said that this was just a pass-through grant and no township dollars would be needed. No township dollars would be needed. However, at this point, it appears that the court wants to increase its budget to $40,000.
Any questions?
May the court comment?
Yes, please.
In response to this, the court was unaware that this change was going to be offered until very late yesterday evening. So just off the top of my head, in response to the request made by the trustee, this was brought to my attention by Deputy Trustee several weeks before this was proposed, and as I had in my conversation with him, this grant has been in existence in Lawrence Township Small Claims Court since 2022, and then it received additional funding in 2023, and then again additional funding in 2024. It was not until 2024 that the issue of unemployment came up, and then at that time with the Indiana Bar Foundation grant, there were funds that were allocated by the Bar Foundation in the amount of $90,000 that allowed for those funds to be used for unemployment compensation should any of the navigators become unemployed at the end of the grant. So please make sure you go back and revisit that. Those funds still remain, and it's only been used by, I believe, one of the past navigators who did file for unemployment. And so those funds will remain in our possession. only for the use of unemployment until the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. Ray, don't quote me on that, but it may be March of next year, but I will find out just to be confirmed. And so again, they would be used for unemployment funds. I think that the $40,000 is for the remaining four navigators that exist under the Lilly grant and the Napoleon grant.
Yes.
And with those funds, we were not made aware that the unemployment insurance was not paid by the township, but only collected if an individual files for unemployment. So in the best interest of the township, I believe that was why we went ahead and put those funds to the side, not with the expectation of using them, but to be able to not have to come back for an additional appropriation, and knowing that should they be used, we would look for those funds or deal with those funds later. And we would be able to even take a look at using the grant monies and setting aside some of those funds for that purpose. And so I want to make sure that you all understand that these are not funds that the township would ultimately use, with the exception of one individual. And I will say this, that this is where my concern for the township is that Ms. Johnson, who is our Lawrence Township navigator, has been under the National Center for State Courts grant for the last 2.5 to 3 years. And her funding was different. And when that original grant was set up in 2022, that the unemployment insurance was not a part of the compensation package that was given by the trustee's office. But she is a Lawrence Township employee. She has been one, just as all the other navigators have been. They have received benefits, her days off, any type of leave time, and I would say that it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and that is my concern, that if we don't call it a duck, we could get ourselves in trouble. So I'd like to put that on the record. But as to Ms. Johnson, she resides in Lawrence, she's employed in Lawrence, and everything she does is for Lawrence Township, even though she may go cover a court from time to time. So with respects to her unemployment compensation, I do believe that it's, or specifically would, even if there's a portion of it, would still belong to Lawrence. And I would just be, I would say, I would have to talk to Ray a little bit more, and I think we had an email going about that, but we just haven't had a chance to connect to see if that in fact would be the case. So those were my comments, and I would just be concerned from that perspective, if someone were to challenge that.
Sharon.
Sharon Anderson, and I have a question. Now, are these two separate funds, the 40,000 and the 90,000?
So yes, those are two separate funds. The 90,000 is from the Indiana Bar Foundation grant, which were ARPA funds. Thank you.
You what?
ARPA funds. Well,
Yes.
let's not confuse it. Let's just say Bar Foundation grant, just so you don't have to worry about all of that. And so those were allocated as part of our negotiated agreement when we took on the pass-through money with the Bar Foundation for the Marion County Eviction Diversion Initiative. They gave us that money to hold so that if there were any unemployment claims, that we could pay those claims out of that $90,000.
Another question.
But they do revert back if we, at the end of a period of time, if they are unused. They don't stay out there with us indefinitely.
Just for those 14 that you have.
Correct.
It doesn't, yeah.
Another question, Mr. Trustee, you kept saying that something was unlawful. So
Yes,
what do you think?
Well, actually, Lawrence Township funds is not to be used in any other township, and no other township fund can be used in Lawrence Township. You have to be a resident of the township in which you're a resident in order to receive funding from Lawrence Township residents.
Well, do all of these, employees, do they live in Lawrence Township? Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, they are performing a service to other Lawrence Township residents, not residents of Washington, Warren, or
I see.
but
They are
to
paid
navigate,
through, they are paid through our township. So I think that that's where the legal question may come in as to whether or not, because they receive other benefits, whether or not they would, need to be paid by us if any unemployment claim came about.
I see.
after those monies would be, the 90,000 would be gone. I'm not trying to deny folks unemployment compensation if they indeed have a time period. But if they're performing services for residents of other townships is the issue. And I've asked Ray for an opinion, and there's someone else who makes that decision. But the lawmakers at the State House take residency very important. As a matter of fact, I've got copies of 12 times the residents, the lawmakers downtown have explained in the importance that they take in their residency, and a person in resident in Lawrence Township. There might be other occasions in the code, Indiana code, where residency is mentioned, but this is clear.
Is this as to trustee office employees, or is this as to
As
all township employees?
residents.
But that only, from what I remember of the law that I've read, applies only to trustee office employees. That residency is required, that they must reside in Lawrence Township.
The client must reside in Lawrence Township.
I'm going
Yeah.
to leave you to, but I'm just telling you what
But-
I have read of the law.
It's my understanding
It's
that
fine.
we can only provide services to clients who come to our office seeking services in Lawrence Township. But
Trustee, can we get an actual legal opinion on this? Or we know?
I've
we know
asked,
we do the right thing? Okay, then
but I would prefer removing it and pulling it into the general fund until there's a finding. And then if we need to, we will still have 6 to 8 months to get it back over into the court's budget.
Yeah, I don't see how we.
Can make an educated
Yeah,
decision
yeah,
tonight. I agree.
Thank you, Judge. That's,
You're
like, you know, I think we have to table it until we get a
Yes.
legal opinion and then we vote.
I would agree.
Okay, then I need to ask a question. If we table it, can we still pass our budget since this is dealing with the 2026 budget?
So if you pass the budget today, that line item will be in there.
Yeah.
And you could remove it, you could not spend it and have it allocated, but just not spend it. Which would deal with the issue, or you could remove it and then have a special allocation next year. You could do it either way.
We can do it either way.
Yeah, so you could vote yes on this and then add it back in next year, or you could vote, table this and vote on the budget as is. So you could do either way.
Any comments from the board? I mean, I think that this is my feeling. I think what we should do is table it, go ahead and vote on the budget as it is, and then when we come back next year for additional appropriations for that money, then that's what we're gonna do.
I think it will be in the budget. It either will be used or it can be, removed, or I think is what you said. Should it not be, you can't go up, but you.
We can go down, but we can't go up.
Correct.
Right.
So it could be removed.
It can be removed and then next year do it as an additional appropriation or leave it in and vote on it and then keep it in the budget this year, keep it in for next year.
Right, but if it passes into next year's budget, it can still be removed. or
You can
unused.
reduce your budget next year, yes.
Yes,
But that's if we vote on that, Justin Dotson. If we vote on that and leave it in the budget, that has to be spent in this budget, right?
No, it doesn't have to be spent.
It doesn't have to be spent in this budget.
You're making it's a budget, so you're making a proposal of how you feel like the money's gonna be spent next year. So you can underspend or not spend in a category.
Okay.
Sharon Anderson, what is the advantage or disadvantage? I mean,
Well, I would see it as a disadvantage if there's no restriction on how the money can be used, as long as it's being used for personal purposes. There's no it's not a restricted fund,
Right.
so it can be used for any number of things other than this item, as long as it's within a Character 1 personnel.
so it could be used for something else other than unemployment, is what you're saying.
and so what would that other be?
I'm not sure, Judge. I don't think that you would do that.
I'm trying to understand.
I'm not sure you would not do that.
And here's my response to the counter response to what Trustee Talley is saying, is simply, I would prefer not to have to either call another meeting or ask for an additional appropriation next year. I have no problems, and I think that this board is familiar enough with me going on 3 terms that I don't use money unless I need to, and we usually do give back funds at the end of the year. So I don't see that having that 40,000 there is an issue.
Yeah, I would agree with the judge, the board.
Okay, Fred,
To leave it.
so we can put that fund into the general fund and not use it?
So this budget allocates that $40,000 to Character 1, right, which is personnel services. So that is salary, benefits, unemployment, anything that fits in that character, right? And so if you want to move it from there to something like supplies or something in a different character or professional services, you would have to have a meeting to move it from here to here to here. But you don't have to spend all of the money that's in that category. And if that money were to be used for hiring another employee at some point, you still have to pass the Form 17 to hire that other employee, right? You can't just take that money and hire somebody else with that. That money has to be used in that character, but it can be used for any expense. Except if you're hiring another employee, you have to go through another process to do that.
Any other questions? Okay. Motion. We'll just.
I just think we should do whatever is legally the option that makes the most sense, right? Because I don't think we're concerned, I don't want to speak for you guys about the 40,000 and preventing Mrs. Johnson being, paid unemployment if something were to happen. At least I'm not concerned with that. I want to make sure she's taken care of. I just want to make sure we do the legal right thing. So, and for me, it makes sense to actually remove it and then have to call another meeting if we have to add it. But I'm not a lawyer, so I don't need the legal. That's just how I kind of heard it.
Yeah, so,
I just want to make sure we do the right thing.
Yeah. Looking at this, at the moment in here without having, honestly, it's 6 to 1, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's probably easier to just leave it, table this and leave it, because then you don't have to make changes to the budget.
Okay.
But.
Can I have a motion to table it?
A second.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, board. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Trustee.
So, sorry, who seconded the? Trustee.
And it was a 4-1 that passed
To table it.
Or on table.
to table it.
Next on the agenda, resolution to adopt the 2026 proposed budget for North Township.
Are there any changes at this time? Or is the budget going to be passed as is?
Sharon?
No changes.
Not knowing what was going to transpire tonight, whether the 40 was going to be removed or stay in, I was not able to prepare the resolution that needed to be prepared. I do have 3 days to get it into Gateway, so I would need you just stop by. I will prepare it tomorrow morning and have you stop by. I will do drive-up service, so if you call me, I'll come out to your car and have you sign it. But if you could give me till, let's say Thursday morning, if you could come by either Thursday or Friday, that would be wonderful.
Thursday's fine.
So you just, whatever.
But we have to be here by Friday about noon, right?
Noonish, go later than 4.
Okay.
I leave at 4,
No problem, no problem with me.
okay?
They good with everyone else?
Yeah, you can come back Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you still have to vote on this, huh? That's just citing it.
Okay.
You still have to have a vote.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Jess and Sharon, okay, all in favor? Motion carries.
I will tell you, I did receive some good news at the conference today. My little buddy, with the insurance company, said, well, I said, you got numbers yet? He goes, yeah. He was really, playing with me. He says, so what do you think it is? I said, 20-25% increase. He says, here, you like this? It's 9.9% increase this year, and we budgeted 15.
Yes.
If everything works out right, that's what he said it would be, so I'm very pleased there. So I just wanted to pass that on to the board that at the IT, I did find that out today.
Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Now, you have a motion.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
We did that.
Okay,
We're
we
at
did that.
12.
So we're on 12, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, compensation for public employees and the employee of the Lawrence Township. Any questions?
This is the salary with the 3% raise. The trustee nor the judge, there was a little put in there in case the judge gets a raise next July, so cover her raise. But everything else, it matches the budget. It was approved by Derek, so.
I just want to make it clear that in the past, whenever the board has discussed my compensation, that I've always given myself on compensation and from the room. And this year, as a guest, I am not.
You don't have to.
I'm not getting, I don't have to
Get the
leave
raise, so
the
you
room
don't leave
because
the
I'm
room.
not,
Okay.
getting salary raise.
No, we do have money to, support these raises.
Correct. As you-
Yes, we do.
We do have money.
If you see in your binder,
Mhm.
I think it does show that we have the money to sustain. The general, as you see, this says that it is funded. Yes. It just shows the ending balance would be $100,000, but as we explained, what we've done to try to offset what is happening next year with the road and infraction fund.
I know our employees, I'm sure the judge about her employees as well, that we want to retain our employees.
I don't think they received.
and I received it
Raised in 4 years?
8 years.
Been 8 years?
No, it's,
No,
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 it's
that's
been
not
6
even close,
It's been
no.
6 years.
It's,
6
no,
years.
no, it's been less than 6 years. And then they got raises when they didn't get, bonuses.
Right,
So it's been less than 6 years.
yeah.
It's been a year for a raise.
Right, it's
Oh,
been way less than 6 years.
Wow.
We got 5%, I think, the year before.
I think it was at the beginning of our last term, just after
Yeah,
our
we gave,
last term.
gave the employees raise, but.
The board did not,
The board
you guys got
didn't.
yours maybe a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But this does include the board raise.
Do I need to make a motion on that? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Us-
Which one is fine? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, last thing on the agenda, well, not last. Resolution. Okay, an amendment on resolution 2025-08 for a one-time bonus.
This is, one-time bonus. It's, one paycheck, 2 weeks.
And we haven't done that in maybe.
A year.
Also, if I may speak, Derek Morris, Deputy Trustee, this kind of acts as a retroactive bonus or a raise, kind of in light of inflation. In fact, we had the money available to do this at the end of the year. We weren't sure about the affordability of doing it at the end of last year when the budget was passed. So this kind of acts as that cushion to make sure, because obviously everybody's experiencing that these days.
So I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
A second. You're gonna say, Justin, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Trustee, any comments?
Yes, Mr. President, I serve on a board called Micro V Project, representing the Township office. Representing the Township office. And I received an email from Professor John True from IU University, and I'll read it to you, and then I'll pass this around. Folks, to see that Hello, Mr. Callen, we sincerely appreciate your dedicated service to the Micro B project and your vital contribution to preventing overdose death within Annapolis Black communities. Your active participation in the Micro B Coalition over the past 2 years has been instrumental in our success, leading to a significant 45% decrease in Black overdose deaths in the selected communities. In selected communities, 23 and 45% decrease in deaths. As a token of our gratitude for your commitment, we would like to present you in the township offices with an appreciation plaque at our August meeting, coalition meeting. This presentation will take place, and it goes on with the time and place and everything. But here's the plaque that you presented to me, representing the office of Township Government Office. This is your appreciation for your outstanding services. So it's pretty much up to that. So I appreciate boards supporting me and supporting my staff, that we were able to use township time to present, to work on that goal to reduce those deaths within the Black community. 45%. That's a huge number,
Yes, it
that's a
is.
huge number.
Congratulations. Your comments?
I think, the only, I guess I should stand, or gotta go back there? Okay, I'll just stand right here. I guess the only comments I would have from, the court is that, the Indiana Supreme Court is about to launch, a new initiative, which is going to be, the kind of a, what I would call, what we're calling an allied legal professional, who is a person who is going to work to help litigants in debt collection cases, which are cases that come through our court, as well as eviction, or litigants that are facing eviction, to work with the courts to try and reduce the debt and judgments that people are getting. And we are one of the pilot courts that they are going to be breaking IU students in from Bloomington to work on that new classification of legal professional that we are trying to launch. So we've got people coming in from IU Bloomington on October 1st, the afternoon. So if you all at the trustee's office, Derek, if you have time, perhaps we can meet with Professor Henderson along with his students to talk about the trustee's office and the services and assistance that you all can get out. And their students will be working with litigants and helping them get to the trustee's office for application and making sure that that connection is made and can be approved. So, and we'll be doing that October 1st. So,
Okay, Mr. President, again, this program that started in your court about 4 years ago with the navigators.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't ever want to pass up an opportunity to thank the judge in the Orange Township Small Claims Court for allowing our office to be a part of that. It's really groundbreaking, and I'm really looking forward to continuing that relationship, Judge. Thank you very much.
If I may, one more comment, and I just wanted to announce, I know the trustee was really excited about this. I was very excited about this. We have a Lawrence Township or Lawrence North student in our office serving as an intern every other day through the end of the school year. And he's somebody who wants to get into public service, senior at Lawrence North. He's been an excellent already. And it's just a really cool way to interact with a high school student who wants to learn, what's going on in the community and get some civic engagement. He's bilingual, certified, dual language of Spanish, so he's very helpful in translating some of the flyers the trustee takes out in the community. It's great to have them in Spanish as well. So this is kind of a cool, thing that came about, and we're happy to have him there. So I just wanted you guys to know.
The last thing on the agenda is certain future meetings, and that's for the holiday schedules, I believe. So we read on. Am I correct? Just want to make sure. So what I want to do is, we'll be scheduled next week for November. And let's do it the second Tuesday in November.
so we're skipping October.
No,
I won't
that's
be here.
Veterans Day.
We're skipping October is what you're saying. Okay, that's all I
Yeah,
can.
so I'll be gone.
It's Veterans Day.
November the 11th.
It's Veterans Day.
Oh, it's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's. Yeah, we can do it on the 13th. You guys come out Thursday? No.
I would just say, make sure before we set it in stone, check with Al.
Yeah, we
Because,
need that, so.
because sometimes he has his board meetings and he can have a conflict.
I don't know how to do this.
You can just,
Change it to Saturday,
yeah,
and get Al's opinion.
yeah, we could do that.
So we change it to Saturday.
I'll be letting Becky know, and then she can send it out to you guys. How that sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay.
What do we decide?
We're gonna,
Gotta make sure we have our attorney.
yeah, we're gonna have our attorney.
Not that I am that important to this, but, I will be, and basically all the people that you've seen come in my place will be in Louisville that day.
What day are we talking?
So the 13th,
So let's take that off the table.
yeah, so
Can we
we
do
should,
it in December?
Well, month of November, this is, what about the
We'll do it the first
The
Tuesday, do it the first Tuesday in November.
November
the
4th?
That's
Yeah.
election day.
Yeah.
And there's no,
Yeah, that's
there's
the
no
next-
election. There's no
election
election.
this year.
I was trying to do election this year.
Oh, okay.
this is off. All right,
So that will be what, November the,
November 4th.
November 4th.
November the 4th?
Okay, you guys wanna go back to 5 o'clock, or you for having a meeting at 5:30?
I'm fine, it's a little better for me.
It's a little better for
It's
you.
time to get
Okay, at 5:30.
There's retirees.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be retired.
Schools, I want to get rid of.
Okay, can I have a motion for dismissal, adjournment? Okay. We're done.
Okay, you guys will stop by.
Yeah, I'll be.
Thursday, right?
Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
I just